Hello everybody, very important lesson today. I can find the inverse of a function by switching x and y. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but both of them are going to involve switching x and y. If it's multiple choice, I have a giant shortcut for you, but either way, to find the inverse, we switch x and y. Number one, what is the inverse of the function y equals 2x minus 3? Well, for inverse, switch x and y. So instead of y, I'm going to write x, and instead of x, I'm going to write y. Now I'm going to solve this thing for y. So I'm going to do some basic algebra. Add 3, x plus 3 equals 2y. From there, divide by 2, divide by 2. You can leave it as x plus 3 over 2. Or you can draw your heart, break it apart. They're both equivalent. If it's multiple choice, let's look at what we got. Your answer is right there to choice 1. We're going to go over it algebraically first. After that, I'll show you your giant shortcuts. So again, what did we do? We switched x and y. We solved for y. Let's jump ahead to number 5. What is the inverse of y equals? Well, for inverse of a function, we switch x and y. It's in our song. Inverse switch x and y, switch x and y. Now to solve for y, basic algebra. Yes, this is basic algebra. To get rid of a fraction, that's basic algebra. I multiply by my LCD, which is 2 here. I get 2x equals, the 2's cancel, y plus 4 minus 2x. Oops, not minus 2x. I want to get y by itself. Minus 4 minus 4, y equals 2x minus 4. Now, before we move on to the shortcut, just one little thing here. If it says this symbol means the inverse. So yeah, I can do this question quick for you, which means switch x and y. So that little -1 exponent, it's not an exponent, it's the symbol for inverse. So before I can switch x and y, I need a y. So I'm going to rewrite g of x equals as y equals, and then inverse switch x and y, switch x and y, switch x and y, solve for y. X minus 6 equals 3y, divide by 3, divide by 3. You can leave it as x minus 6 over 3. And instead of y, I would change it back to g inverse of x equals. Or you could have drawn your heart, broke it apart, and done 1/3 x minus 2. Either one's fine. Now, if it's multiple choice, you should not be doing any of this. If it's multiple choice, we know that inverse means switch x and y. So I see inverse, I know I'm going to switch x and y. But if it's multiple choice, use your table in your calculator. Go to y equals. Type in 4x plus 5. 4x plus 5. Go to your table and write down some nice points. So, by nice points, I don't want fractions. I don't want things that are too big. Let's do -2, -3, -1, 1. -2, -3, -1, 1. 0, 5. I would pick 3 points. Now, if I'm finding the inverse, I'm going to have to switch x and y. So if I switch x and y, -2, -3 is going to be -3, -2. -1, 1 is going to become 1, -1. 0, 5 is going to become 5, 0. This is the table I want. So now I'm going to go through each choice. I'm going to type it into the calculator. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to see which one passes through those points. X equals, that doesn't make any sense. I can't do anything with that. So let's start with choice 2. Y equals 1/4 x minus 5/4. Look at your table. I'm looking for -3, -2. I got it. I'm looking for 1, -1. I got it. I'm looking for 5, 0. I got it. I got it. If I go through the other choices, y equals 4x minus 5 was choice 3. 4x minus 5. I'm looking for -3, -2. Nope, that's not on it. So that one's out. Y equals 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4x plus 5. I'm looking for -3, -2. Don't have it. That's your answer. Let's do another one. Let's go this one. I'm going to type it into y. I see inverse. I know inverse means inverse, switch x and y, switch x and y. I go to y equals. I've got -6x minus 2. I go to my table. I write down a few nice points. I'm going to go 1, 6, 2, 0, 3, -6. 1, 6, 2, 0, 3, -6. Since inverse means switch x and y, I'm going to switch x and y. 1, 6 becomes 6, 1. 2, 0 becomes 0, 2. 3, -6 becomes -6, 3. That's the table I'm looking for. I go to each choice. I start with choice 1. -2 minus alpha x, x over 6. I look at my table. I'm looking for 6, 1, 0, 2, and -6, 3. So let's work backwards here. Is -6, 3 on there? No. So choice 1's out. Choice 2, +2 minus x over 6. I'm looking for 6, 1, so -6, 3. I've got it. Next, I'm looking for 0, 2. It's possible that one of the points might work, but it's got to be all of them. 0, 2's on it. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's make sure. 6, 1. It's on it. That's it. Choice 2 works. That's it. Inverse means switch x and y. If it's open response, literally switch x and y in the equation and then solve for y. If it's multiple choice, type the original function into the calculator, write down a few nice points in your table, switch x and y, and then type in each choice and see which choice has those points. Very, very commonly asked in the regions. Not hard as long as you know how to do it. Inverse switch x and y, switch x and y.